All right, welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Boston Boys Sports podcast. I am, of course, one of your hosts. I am Eli Horrigan, your king of Carver. I'm here with the beard, the best in the business, Kiefer Bontos. Kiefer, what's up, my dog?
Oh, another day, another dollar, brother. Ready to get this going with you.
Absolutely, and we are missing Steve Fernandez. We are still awaiting his return to complete the trio of the Boston Boys Sports. And of course, we want to mention we are partnered with Jones and for Sports. We make sports better. Check them out on X. Check them out on YouTube. Check them out on Instagram. They're putting out great content every single day. And of course, follow us as well at Hub Boys Sports. It is a beautiful, actually very brisk Wednesday up in New England. I don't know how you feel, but I am pretty cold today. What about you, Kiefer?
Oh, man, I was a little cold this morning, a little cold. I put on the heater in the garage. It's blowing this way. I'm feeling good right now.
All right, so you're feeling good right now. All right, and we're going to jump right in to our topics. You know we do our 3 studs and 3 duds from the previous week of football. So we're talking about our Week 10 studs and duds. We always start with our studs. Kiefer, you, as always, will lead us off. Who was your number 1 stud?
Well, I know you probably got the same one, but it's Jamar Chase.
Okay, Jamar Chase, that's a good one.
Yeah, 11 receptions, 264, 3 touchdowns, hit 17 targets. The guy was unreal this weekend. I think he scored almost 70 points in fantasy. So it's not enough to say about the guy. He's that good. I've been saying it. It's not Joe Burrow. It's not the offense. It's the defense in Cincinnati, but we're going Jamar Chase.
All right, I'm not going to disagree with you. I did not have Jamar Chase my number 1 because I thought that was very a narrow one. I did a very broad suspect Thursday Night Football. I mean, what a big winner there. Bengals at Ravens. What a game that turned out to be. Despite the controversy in the game, Thursday Night Football feels like very watchable football this year. There've been some really good games. I got to say, I really disagreed with the 2-point attempt at the end of the game to go for it. Go for the tie. I know that they need a win there, but to lose on the 2-point conversion when you could have set it to overtime, I thought that was really dumb. But I didn't just go Jamar because Lamar threw for 3 touchdowns in the 4th quarter. Joe Burrow throws for over 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. And then, of course, Chase with the 264 receiving yards, which is absurd. Those are mad numbers. That doesn't happen often. Like Antonio Brown was the last guy we saw do that. Game of the week for sure. They should forever just put rivalry night as Thursday night and put these types of games on there because it's so good for football.
That's a great idea. Rivalry games for Thursday Night Football would be awesome for a full season.
Why not forever? I mean, you could probably do it. I'm sure there's somebody smarter than me out there who could probably work it. So you have 2 teams both coming off the bye week, both in the division. So it's divisional matchups on Thursdays. I mean, maybe both of them can't come off a bye, but there's got to be something where it's rested teams and then divisional matchups because those make for the best matchups.
Agreed.
All right. Who was your number 2 stud?
So again, that whole game, all 3 of my studs are from that game. So I did do Lamar Jackson, 4 touchdowns, 290 yards, 33 rushing yards, and a 2-point conversion. That game was everything I wanted in a Thursday Night Football game. It was everything I wanted in a season game. That would have been a great playoff game to watch if it was a playoff game. So I went Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, you're not going to go wrong with anybody from that game, really. That's why I did Thursday Night Football as a whole there. My number 2 stud, we've been hypercritical this year, DeMarcus Covington and the Patriots defense. I was really impressed. I know that probably people are looking at it, the Bears aren't that good, and we're learning that about the Bears. We thought the NFC North, like 2 weeks ago, all we talked about was how good the NFC North was. The Bears seem to be on a downward spiral, but Caleb Williams throws for just over 50% completed, 120 yards. They let up under 100 yards rushing on the defense. They had 9 total sacks, 13 tackles for a loss, 13 quarterbacks hit, and 13 quarterback hits, I should say. 5 passes deflected. I thought that was the best defensive game we've seen from the Patriots.
Best defensive game we've seen the Pats, and it shows hope that maybe that defense isn't as bad as everybody thought they was. beginning of the season with Brissett at quarterback, you didn't have much to fall on. They were saving some games where it was the offense was scoring low points against them, and then they had some really bad outings. But that was really great to see. The 9 sacks, the pressure on the quarterback. They were just all over the place that game.
Yeah, and again, we were talking in our group text, and that Bears offensive line is awful. But I credit where credit's due, and we've pretty much shit on the Patriots all season. So to give them a little bit of credit, I'm not above that. When they play well, they play well. Now let's see them play well this week against the Rams, and then I'll be really impressed.
I'll be very impressed.
All right, so that does it for my number 2. Number 3, who's your number 3 stud?
And I went, you already said Thursday Night Football, and I went with Joe Burrow because I've been saying all season that this is not Joe Burrow's fault. I do not believe that it all falls on the quarterback in Cincinnati. That defense is awful, and Joe Burrow just plays football. There were some missed calls in that game.
Big missed calls.
Big missed calls in that game that should have happened and sided with them. He said it after the game. We just didn't get the calls we were supposed to get. I'm not making an excuse. We should have won that game. They've had so many close games come down to him just playing great football. And honestly, Joe Burrow, top 3 quarterback maybe in the NFL right now.
Oh, well, we'll dive into our top quarterbacks in the NFL for just this year and this year only. But excuse me, sorry.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much. Joe Burrow, you can't go wrong there again. He's been phenomenal. He is not to blame for this season. But well, I knew another one was coming. Sorry about that. But yeah, Joe Burrow is an excellent pick for that one. And if you didn't have guys worrying about contracts holding out all off season and preseason, and you didn't have that slow start, we might not look at the Bengals as a team that might be on the outside looking in. With as bad as the NFL's been this year, the Bengals could still easily sneak in.
Easily, we talked about that. They have to win some games, but that was a must-win game to me. It's a shame that they didn't win, but either way, they have hope. And if Joe Burrow continues to play the way he's playing right now, I could see them sneaking in.
They definitely could sneak in. And before I go on to my number 3, Cincinnati, if they sneak in, that's a team you don't want to see wild card weekend, right? They could definitely upset, whoever wins. It could be the Texans or whoever wins that AFC South. I mean, that South is a bad division, and I wouldn't want to be the Houston Texans with all the injuries and problems they've had, and them being kind of soft as far as I'm concerned. I wouldn't want to see the Bengals coming to town on wild card weekend.
I wouldn't want to see Joe Burrow in the playoffs at all, because if you don't remember last playoff run, Joe Burrow did go into his Super Bowl run. He played fantastic throughout that whole playoffs.
Yeah, he did.
So he's a playoff guy. He's a winner, and he wants to win. So that team would scare me going into a wild card weekend.
Absolutely. I definitely agree. Those all 3 great picks, because that game, like I said, I went with the broad Thursday Night Football just because I could have done the same thing. You could have picked all 3 guys just from that game.
Yeah.
But for my 3rd, sticking with a team that gets beat down a lot, I went with Chuba Hubbard. 153 yards rushing, 1 touchdown, 4 receptions, 16 yards. I mean, he was Carolina's offense. And it was a otherwise pretty terrible game. Poor Germany had to watch that. Poor Eli as well. The kicker was sat there watching that game too, locked in. I mean, 2 bad football teams, but give him his due. That was a fantastic, great game by Chuba.
He's had a great season.
Yeah, he really has, especially for an awful, awful team.
An awful team. I got him in a lot of fantasy leagues right now, and I drafted him in the later rounds, thinking, that kid Brooks wasn't going to play right away. I don't think he's going to be splitting a big load with Brooks as it is at all.
No, not this year,
really,
for sure.
He's really playing great football as a running back. And I've been impressed. When he first came out of, I think it was Oklahoma State, he came out of, they were talking about him being like a prime running back in the NFL. And you didn't see it the first couple of years. And now you're starting to see it with a bad team. Imagine if he had a good team playing under him.
Yeah, I remember, I don't know what year it was, but he stuck around to the later rounds. He was there day 2. Did he get picked in the 3rd round, 4th round, somewhere
I
around
think
there?
3rd or 4th, and I believe it was right off. He had a 2,000-yard rushing season right before he got drafted.
And I remember because I thought, like, why not take him if you're the Patriots when you get into those later rounds? And, obviously they didn't drop to him, but I thought he was good at OK State. And I thought, why not take that guy in the later rounds? But, they know better than I suppose. That's why they're making millions of dollars to run a team. And we're doing a podcast for free. And we still don't have a sponsor yet, as I'm drinking Sam Adams if they want to. And Mitchell and Ness, shout out to both of you guys. Send free beer. I'll get paid.
Yes, sir.
All right, well, that's going to do it for our studs portion of this. Let us know if you think we got any right, wrong, or if we missed anyone that you thought was a stud. And while we move on to our duds, Kiefer, who's your number 1 dud?
Dallas Cowboys offense.
You're not wrong. God,
56 yards passing total. 6, and that was on. And I think Cooper Rush completed 13 passes in 2 quarterbacks played, 66 yards.
Why does Cooper Rush even still have a spot? He's god awful.
No, awful. And Trey Lance no better either, but you guys see the Lander throw to. And I think he had 27 yards in a game where he could have racked up yards if he had a better quarterback or a better offensive coordinator or whatever it was. But they suck. The Cowboys just suck.
The Cowboys are bad. Coaching's a big problem. Dak being down is a big problem. But you're right. If you put me behind, I could probably play quarterback better than both of those two with a backyard offense of basically drawing with a stick in the dirt. Hey, CD, go to this spot and I'll try to hit you. And just throw it to him every time. I mean, force them to triple cover this guy, and then you can maybe get Brandon Cooks open. But Cooper Rush is terrible, and so is Trey Lance. Trey Lance is the biggest fraud since probably Jamarcus Russell that I can think of, that just can't even play the position.
Ooh, that's a hot take right there. Jamarcus Russell.
It's awful. Like this guy was he 2 or 3 to San Francisco?
3.
Okay, that's right. It went Trevor Lawrence 1. Who went 2 right before? Zach Wilson 2.
Zach Wilson 2.
And then Trey Lance. It's like, this guy is a fraud. He went to North Dakota State or North Dakota, one of these small schools. They built him up that he was great. He is a bum, and so is Cooper Rush. They don't belong on an NFL roster. Send them to the Canadian Football League. Send them to the USFL. They're not good. They don't belong on a roster. It's like Bronny James in the NBA. You're clogging up a spot, dude. Excuse me. All right, so my number 1 dud, as ironic as it is, because I put the Patriots on my stud, is the Chicago Bears. I mean, like I said, it's ironic because I had the Patriots defense being good, and I believe they were. This is more a direct shot at ownership. Sure, we know the Bears stunk on Sunday, but the idea that they fired Shane Waldron, their offensive coordinator, who's been there for 10 months, and kept Matt Eberflus is mind-bendingly stupid. This is why Chicago is such a terrible franchise, and they're in the dumps again. Eberflus is not a good coach. He's 14-29 since getting to Chicago. And not only that, he was basically an average defensive coordinator in Indianapolis, in 4 seasons. They've had Luke Getsy and Shane Waldron, and now they have Thomas Brown. Offensive coordinator is not your problem when this is your 3rd offensive coordinator in 3 years. And meanwhile, Matt Eberflus must have pictures of somebody pretty important at a Diddy party because he is clueless on that sideline. He's wasting another 1st-round draft pick. This is what a joke Chicago is. Fire him.
No, fire him. You called it 2 weeks ago. They should have fired. He should be gone already. Awful head coach. Awful. Why I haven't fired him like that? That might be true. Maybe he has a picture from a Diddy party or something.
I mean, it's got to be something. Like, what does he have on Chicago?
They can't like him that much as a coach when you're 14 and 29, you just said, or whatever it was.
29.
Yeah, you can't. No, I'm sorry. Fire him, let him go, figure it out, get a new head coach next year. Call Josh McDaniels. He's better head coach than that guy, and he's not a good head coach at all.
I said it a few episodes ago. Lincoln Riley, just go get Caleb Williams, college coach who he likes. You know what I mean?
That was
you literally built a team around this guy. You went and got Keenan Allen. You have DJ Moore. You took another 1st-round pick on Ruma Dunze. You went out and got DeAndre Swift. I mean, you have Cole Kmet. You need to build an offensive line. And, you can conceivably see they'll probably be in the top half of the draft again. Go get some offensive line help, and then bring in an offensive coordinator who knows this guy, or not offensive, a head coach who knows this guy, like Lincoln Riley. It just makes too much sense to me.
Yeah, and Lincoln Riley's an offensive-minded coach anyway.
Absolutely. The guy has coached Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, Caleb Williams. I mean, the guy is pumping out quarterbacks. So just sign him up in Chicago so Chicago can finally maybe win, because what he's doing in Chicago is atrocious.
Atrocious. I agree.
All right, on to your number 2 dud.
Oh, so I'm adding somebody from the Giants game, and it's Daniel Jones. He needs to be out of the NFL. 192 picks. He's not a good quarterback. He's not worth the money that you paid him. You're owe him a king's fortune if you let him go anyway. So just get rid of him now. I heard he finally got benched. Don't know how true that is, but he's straight up trash.
I'll agree with you, because my number 2 is Daniel Jones. I mean, at what point is the Daniel Jones experiment over? Like, in 70 games, he's 24, 44, and 1. He's not much better than Matt Eberflus here. He's got 70 touchdowns and 47 interceptions. He's got a career 64.1 completion percentage. And after all this, they're like, let's sign this guy for 4 years, $160 million. Are the Giants fucking stupid too? Like, what is wrong with them? No wonder they think Eli Manning is a first ballot Hall of Famer when you sign guys like Daniel Jones to big money contracts, and he's terrible. Like, Giants fans have been watching Daniel Jones now for a few seasons. No wonder they're like, wow, Eli Manning was great. Eli Manning was a career 500 quarterback. He's leaps and bounds ahead of Daniel Jones. If the Giants had any other quarterback on planet Earth, they would win this game. But instead, they have Danny Dunce, who throws basically 2 red zone interceptions. He threw for 190 yards on the 8th worst passing defense, which is the Panthers. And going into the game, the Panthers had 3 interceptions all season. Danny Dipshit just threw them 2.
Danny Dipshit. I like that new name.
He is so bad. I don't understand what they see in him. Okay, you're right. Send him with Trey Lance and Cooper Rush to the Montreal Alouettes for some Canadian beer.
No, something, bro. Because you wasted a pick on Malik Nabars just for him to not throw to him.
No, I couldn't agree more. That's a perfect one. We both agree to. Who's your number 3 dud?
So now I'm high on this dud. I still am. They won the game, but to throw 5 picks in a game and still win just goes to show you how good the Detroit Lions are.
Yeah.
Because Jared Goff, 15 to 30, 242 touchdowns, 5 picks.
Yeah.
And they still win the game. Detroit is that good that they don't need their star quarterback, which I am calling him a star.
Yeah.
They don't need him to play like he's been doing, throwing 90% completion percentage and not making mistakes. He made enough mistakes in that game for his last 4 games, and he made none.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I didn't have the heart to put him on here because the Lions still won despite his poor performance. And I also didn't put him on here because I don't think he was as bad as my number 3. But you're not wrong. That was a really poor game by him. And it just goes to show you how good Detroit is, because Houston, again, I think Houston's soft, but Houston's still a good team. And they overcame 5 interceptions to still beat a good team. That should scare other NFL teams.
It should scare all of the NFL.
Yeah. So my number 3 is the JETS. Stink. Aaron Rodgers is all done, and I hope he realizes it. And if he doesn't, Joe Douglas needs to walk him out of the stadium and give him the speech that George Henderson gives Harry at the end of Harry and the Hendersons. Remember? Get out of here. We don't want you anymore. Go. Like, you got to do it. Walk him out. He is not good. Breece Hall, who's averaging 5.5 yards a carry in that game, but because they have Aaron Rodgers and they traded for Devontae Adams, they only rush him 10 times. 5.5 yards a carry, and you only give him 10 rushes. That's why you're losing. I'm sorry, but until Ahmad Gardner starts figuring out how to be a shutdown corner, I'm not calling him Sauce anymore because he hasn't looked good this season either. This team got beat up and embarrassed by Arizona.
Oh, so bad. So bad. Arizona, I think it was you that called it. They don't look awful. They got some solid pieces to make themselves a good team. I didn't think they were going to smash the Jets as bad as they did.
Yeah.
But Aaron Rodgers is done. Hang it up. Hang it up. Devontae Adams is going to ask for a trade when he hangs it up again too anyway. So that was a wasted trade also.
Oh, absolutely. No receiver on the Jets against Arizona top 50 yards.
Yep.
I mean, it was just that team's bad. Aaron Rodgers is cooked. Just move on,
Agreed.
So I have a sneeze coming. I can feel it. But why don't we jump in? I mean, that was it for our studs and our duds. Like I said, let us know in the comments who we got right, who we got wrong, who you thought belonged on those lists. Love your list, Beard. I'm a little partial of mine as well. That's why we do them. Let's jump into our Week 10 power rankings. I don't imagine they change too much for either of us, but we do it every week anyway. Week 10, who's your number one?
Chiefs.
We have the same number one, and this is a show where we don't talk politics. We talk sports. But obviously we just had a presidential election. And if you watch TikTok at all, there's a 4B movement going around where women are shaving their head and refusing to have sex with men for 4 years. I need Taylor Swift to join this movement and hold out on Travis Kelce. So maybe the Chiefs will lose. We need something. If you can do anything for football fans, Taylor, join the movement, shave your head, and hold out because I need Travis Kelce to turn back into a pumpkin, and I need the Chiefs to lose, okay? As fun as it has been to watch because they are winning in almost outrageous ways like you would see in a movie script. The Chiefs stay number one. They're 9-0. They're back-to-back champions, the Super Bowl champions. But, man, every week they're so close to losing, and they pull it out. Please, Taylor, do America, do the whole world a solid and hold out on this guy so the Chiefs can lose and I can put the Lions at one.
The Lions deserve to be at one in my eyes, but that's my number two. The Detroit, after winning that game with the 5 picks, like I just said, the NFL should be scared of the Detroit Lions.
I have the Lions at number 2 as well, so I'm not going to disagree with you. Like you said in your duds with Goff, and I doubled down on it. Despite him looking awful in that game, the Lions are so good that they still win 26-23. I think the Texans are soft. I don't think the Texans are a real contender at this point. I think, like I said, if Cincinnati sneaks into the playoffs as a wildcard team and they end up playing a team like Houston could absolutely get beat at home by Cincinnati. So, by the way, I do love that hat. That Bruins hat is real nice.
Appreciate it.
But yeah, you're not right. It's the Detroit Lions are number 2. And who do you got number 3?
Buffalo.
Go ahead. I talk about Buffalo because I'm going to make a point about Buffalo because I have them at 3 as well.
Buffalo is playing great football. After those 2 bad games that they had, Buffalo has came back and proved that they might – in my eyes, them and the Ravens are the best chance to dethrone the Chiefs in the AFC. I'm more scared for the Ravens because of their defense, but Buffalo is playing on all cylinders right now. They're cranking, and Josh Allen has thrown a couple picks in the last couple games. You finally start to see it after he was throwing none, but that kid's they're good. Josh Allen is good. He top 3 quarterback in the NFL, might be the number 1 quarterback in the NFL from everything that he can do. It's just he's that good.
You're right. And later we are, for the fans out there, a little peek into it. We're going to do our top 10 quarterbacks just this year. We're not going to give you a whole list of why we think they are. We're going to go 10-1 and tell you who just this season alone, not career. So don't panic when Pat Mahomes isn't number 1 because we know he's the greatest quarterback out playing the game right now. But to me, it's the Buffalo Bills at 3. They're special right now. But I'll say this. I think they are a very flawed team. Josh Allen is a superstar on a different level. He is the type of guy who makes the whole team better. Everybody on that team is better because of Josh Allen, and that's a double-edged sword for them, because if one player is that special, you are one player away from being pedestrian, and that is my fear for Buffalo. I think if Josh Allen was to get hurt, and he is a guy who plays with his heart on his sleeve, I mean, he is full tilt all the time. He wants to win so bad, and it's such a great quality and a trait in a guy. But if he gets hurt, I think that team's extraordinarily average after him if he goes down. And that's the double-edged sword of the Buffalo Bills right now, is Josh Allen is so good that he's actually their Achilles heel.
So I said that to you in the beginning of the season. Everybody was calling me a Josh Allen lover, and I'm all about Josh Allen and this and that. He carries that team on his back.
He does.
And I've been saying that since the beginning of the season. He carries them. He is their Achilles heel. If he gets hurt, that team is not playing the same.
Yeah.
So it's just it's tough because I don't think he's going to get hurt. He's a big enough quarterback. I mean, it could happen to anybody. But this might be his year to go to a Super Bowl.
You know, it very well could be, and I think I gave you a real hard time about the Josh Allen stuff, so I apologize. But I've been really impressed with him. The last few weeks, he's had a couple interceptions. Before that, he put up a big 0, and I had said at the beginning of the season that was one of his big problems. It seems like he's kind of overcame it. Hopefully, it's been a fluke the last 2 weeks, but he's so good that I'm worried about that team. If he was to get hurt, which I never want to see, I think that team could really struggle. Like I think other teams like Lamar Jackson, if he gets hurt, I mean, I still think the Ravens are like, you have Derrick Henry, you have a good offensive line, you have other players. I just think Josh Allen is Buffalo in so many ways. And if you ask Josh Allen, he would say, no, it's a team effort. I get that. That's what a leader does, but he's so instrumental in that team's wins that I think it would really hurt them if he was to ever get hurt.
I definitely agree with you. That's without a doubt, that's not a bad take right there. I hope it doesn't happen because the Chiefs can't win another Super Bowl in my eyes. I just can't watch it again.
I will say, as a fan of the game, like I when the Patriots were on top, everyone hated the Patriots, and I'm with everyone. Like I want to see someone other than the Chiefs win, but what they're doing is special. Watching it from a perspective of sports talk is talking heads like we are right now, and although we do this for fun, we take it serious. We do our homework. We watch film, and we're really invested in this. From that perspective, watching what they're doing is really fun.
No, I completely agree.
And from a fan, I'm with you, though. I hope they, like I said, Taylor, if you're out there, if you ever drop it, shave your head, girl. Travis will do fine for 4 years without you. All right, let's jump in. So that does it for our 3 power rankings. And now we're going to go into our Patriots talk. We always start with Patriots talk with where do we have the Patriots in our power rankings? Where do you have the Patriots in your power rankings?
29, baby. Finally cracking.
I got 29 as well. So
my guy.
Yeah, after watching that Germany game, I know 2 teams for sure that are behind them. And then I actually have the Jets behind them, too. I mean, there's a litany of teams that you can put there, but I think the Jets are trash. Carolina, I think New York's 32 at this point. Like, New York's a mess.
Yeah, they lose to Carolina, they're definitely 32.
Yeah, so all right. Well, then let's jump into our Patriots talk, because the Patriots are 3-7 right now. They just come off a pretty good win. I mean, I know the Bears are kind of trending downwards, but this was the number 1 overall pick versus the number 3 overall pick. I think Chicago is definitely the more talented team, but what do you think about the Patriots right now?
So I sent you guys a couple things in the last few days in the text chat. I sent a picture today of Brady's first 5 games and May's first 5 games.
Yeah.
Nearly identical, minus the rushing yards.
Yes.
Drake May is a lot more athletic than Tom Brady ever will be or ever was. Brady has a way better mind and probably all that at that stage. It's whatever, but I am on the wagon of Drake May potentially being our franchise quarterback. I was at the point where I said he wasn't gonna. I didn't want him to start. I didn't even want to draft him. But this kid got moxie, bro. He really does. He got a lot of moxie, and he wants to play football. And you can see that bad offensive line. He's still running around everywhere. He's still doing what he has to do to extend the play as a 21-year-old kid. It's early stages of Josh Allen. And I say that, and everybody can hate me for the comparison. I've heard the comparison from Josh McDaniels on Edelman's podcast. I've heard it all. I like this kid. I think he is something that we can build on. And I named him as one of the four pillars of New England.
That being him, Gonzo, Christian Barmore, and
Keon White is what I saw. Yeah,
Keon White.
And I agreed with that.
Well, I don't disagree with you. I hope there's room on the Drake May bandwagon for another person because I'm with you. I love what you said. I don't disagree at all. Like anyone who hates the Josh Allen comparison, I think you're wrong. Josh Allen, remember, this is a guy in his rookie season who threw 10 touchdowns, 12 picks. And Josh Allen was a turnover machine honestly, every year he's had double digits except for his second year in the season. So there's something to be said with a learning curve of a 21-year-old kid. Josh Allen was 22 when he came into the league. So there's not much difference there. Drake May does a good job extending plays because it's a bad offensive line. But I think when you're watching the Patriots and you watch a game like that, and of course there's down games. You shouldn't have lost to Tennessee, but you did because there's things happen. But you're starting to carve out a path of like, all right, there's light at the end of the tunnel here. I think the NFL is so bad. Like there's people who are going crazy. I was listening to EEI and the gal on the morning show this morning is saying, listen, if they can just go 6-1, they can make the playoffs. So 6-1 in the rest of their games. I don't see that happening, but you're starting to kind of get life in this team. Drake May's fun to watch. Ramondre Stevenson's putting up 74 yards. You're seeing Alex Van Pelt's offense, which I'm not big on in today's NFL, but the blocking scheme. You have Cole Strange potentially coming back. You have Christian Barmore could potentially coming back. So this team that we thought, boy, they're closer. Steve, you say they're closer to 0 wins than they are to like 5 wins or 6 wins or whatever the number was. Well, now it feels like the scale's tipping in the other direction. And it's like you look at they have the Rams at Miami, Indy at Arizona, at Buffalo, the Chargers, and then Buffalo again. This could trend to a team with a closer to the lower half of the top 10 draft pick. And I don't want to see them lose anymore. I want to see them compete right now because top 10 pick in the NFL is still a good pick. But I'm liking what I'm watching out of Drake May. It's fun to watch them.
I know it is fun. And I said that, we said that many weeks ago that I need a product that I can watch and be excited for. And I'm starting to get that product now. When I say we talk about those 4 pillars, because I read that about those 4 pillars. My cousin Sean, shout out to him. He's the guy living down in Florida.
What's up?
He watches us faithfully every week. I always ask me every week when the show's getting posted up. He actually didn't include Barmore in the 4 pillars when we talked about it. Okay. He brought up the whole blood clot thing like Chris Bosh.
Yeah.
And how you don't know if he's going to come back. You don't know. Blood clots are scary. You don't know. I know the NBA is different and the NFL is different and stuff like that when it comes to injuries and stuff and all that. But he didn't add him on. He added Bentley to it and saying a healthy Bentley coming back next year would help this defense tremendously because you have your play caller back on the field again.
I like Bentley. I think he's a guy who's progressed. So blood clots are scary. So I know what he's saying, but they're talking about Barmore possibly being day-to-day and playing this weekend.
Ooh, good.
Yeah, I listened. That's what they said on Sports Talk Radio today when I was listening. So if he could potentially be back this weekend, I mean, that's a lot sooner than you thought. We know what Barmore is. We don't really know what Cole Strange is, but I agree. Bentley is a guy who earned a contract. He almost reminds me of Kyle Van Noy, a guy who was just like a good defensive player who got like steadily better year after year, or Rob Ninkovich, one of these guys who they're not superstars, but they're definitely guys who got better every year and they belonged on a good defensive team. And that's what I like about Bentley. I think he's gotten better every single year and he's earned the contract he's got. But when I look at the Patriots at 3-7, there's 11 teams in the NFL right now who have 3 wins or less. So you're among those teams. Being the best bad team, I think, is an okay sign that you're moving in the right direction. Because when you're the bottom of all the bad teams, like the New York Giants or the Carolina Panthers, you're a complete mess. But if you can be king of the terrible teams, that means you're trending towards the middle of the pack. And that's what this is going to be, a slow rebuild. I don't think Gerard Mayo is the right coach for the rebuild. But at 3-7, you're watching them play that game. And I was really impressed with the defense. And again, bad offensive line, I get it. But if you're the best of the bad, that means you're trending in the right direction. And that's what gives me hope. It's like Drake May, did he have a great game? 15 of 25 for 184 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. No, but it's better than watching Jacoby Brissett. And you see when he makes plays, extends plays, and makes good plays, that's all you can ask for from a 21-year-old.
That's all you can ask for. And it makes me happy for future I want to say, but it makes me happy for the future because it shows that maybe we got the right guy. Maybe we weren't stupid. I mean, at this point, he's looking like he didn't play all season. He just started a couple games ago, but he is playing. He played better than Caleb Williams, the number 1 pick, and he has all those weapons.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm definitely a Drake May fan at this point. I like what I'm seeing out of him. And I'm just hoping it continues. I'm hoping I'm not going to sit here and tell you, yep, he's great. We got the right guy. That's a franchise quarterback, but he's trending in that direction. That's all you can hope for.
Trending in that direction. I completely agree on that.
Now, how many wins do you think the Patriots end up with? And I'll give you the remaining games.
So,
LA this weekend, at Miami, Indianapolis, at Arizona, at Buffalo, LA Chargers, and then Buffalo at home.
2 more wins.
Okay. So you see them going 5-12.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, I'd have to go back and watch. I think I said 3 games they were going to win this season. And I know I've been off and on like, oh, Jesus Christ, I don't think they're going to win any more games. But after watching the way May play, I say they win 5 games.
All right. Well, and do you one better? I think that's a good call. I think they can beat LA this weekend. That probably is an optimistic point of view, but LA is. I don't think LA is great. They're 1 win better. I like Stafford. It's a healthy Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. That's a tough ask, but can they beat them? Yes. I don't think they go to Miami and win. They struggle in Miami with Tom Brady. I don't think they're going to go down there with Drake May and win. But I think they can beat Indy, who's now going back to Anthony Richardson. They can't figure it out. At Arizona, I think is a loss. You're traveling across the country, and Arizona's been good. Don't think you stand a chance against Buffalo, but I think you can beat the Chargers. I think the Chargers having to come across the country to play in New England, probably a 1:00 game, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm not overly sold on the Chargers either. And I think you lose to Buffalo. I think this team could be 6-11, and I think that's a good direction.
I think it's a great direction. Compared to what we all thought originally, 6 games, big jump.
Absolutely. You have anything else on the Patriots?
No, I think I'm good. Oh, well, Stevenson's waking up finally, so maybe we'll see a little bit more out of him this weekend too.
Absolutely. So let's go just quickly around the NFL before we do our quarterbacks. I had a couple questions for you. Was Caleb Williams the wrong pick over Jaden Daniels?
Oh, yeah. Why they went with – so I don't know if it was them just thinking because he won the Heisman and this and that and blah, blah, blah. Oh, this is the guy. Jalen Daniels played better than him last year, statistical-wise. And they still Williams. I want ownership in my team that drafts me. God, you're an idiot if you gave him some type of ownership in a team to come play for you. And thank God they didn't do it. But I think Jalen Daniels should have been the number one pick.
I agree. I like Jaden Daniels at LSU. I made that pretty known before you had joined the Boston Boy Sports, which just with me and Steve shooting the shit. I don't want to completely say I agree. I think Jaden Daniels was the better quarterback and the better pick. I do think the Bears are failing Caleb Williams at the same time. I just think you haven't put the right coach around him. I just think it was a bad pick overall. Not bad pick, but Matt Eberflus.
The coaching thing's a big thing, like you said. That's without doubt. It's the coach. It's the coach because they surrounded him with talent, man. Like that was like a Madden traded. I traded for the players that I wanted on my team type thing that they did.
Absolutely. All right, and then I have another question for you. Colts are going back to Anthony Richardson. Mistake or not a mistake?
Mistake.
So you're done.
I'm done.
You know what's wild? Because I'm with you. Anthony Richardson, I don't think is a good quarterback. Anthony Richardson got about 10 NFL games. Daniel Jones has 70. Like
we hit 70. Well, I thought he was bad. I thought Jones was bad last year, but Anthony Richardson, it doesn't look like he's doing anything to fix his problems, and that's my problem with it.
Yeah.
And the whole tap out thing that you called last couple weeks ago when he tapped, you don't do that in the NFL. You got to be some type of pussy to fucking tap out. Oh, I was tired, bro. Do you not see Drake May running around like that with an awful offensive line, running back and forth, running for 30-yard scrambles, and still staying out there getting rocked?
Yeah,
and you tap out from a small little run. I was tired. Get the fuck out of here.
I'm with you. The fact that you tapped out is enough for me to say I'm done. But going back to him, what a mess in Indianapolis. Like, what an absolute mess. And honestly, I don't hate their wide receiving core between Pittman, Alec Pierce, and Josh Downs. And then you have Jonathan Taylor as well. They can't figure out the quarterback. It's Anthony Richardson, that's Joe Flacco, and that's back to Anthony Richardson. This team is just like it's another team that's a mess. Like, this is why I think the Patriots can beat this team, because I think Indy's just a train wreck.
No, I agree. Actually, I got a question for you though.
Okay.
I heard a scenario today about the Dallas Cowboys. Even though they signed Dak Prescott and they did what they needed to do to sign him, does they tank the rest of the season, possibly get a top 4 pick, and do they steal Deion Sanders from Colorado and draft Shadori Saunders? Now, I saw this. I was looking at it like, this is something I got to ask you guys, because I don't know. I know Deion likes playing with the kids. He really does. He said he had no desire in the NFL, but he has links to the Cowboys. Do you think the Cowboys would do something like that?
Yeah, because I think Jerry Jones is like, he could be like, oh, I'm bringing back Deion and bringing back a Cowboy, and we'll draft your son. That's something that I could see happening. I don't know if it happens. I mean, I don't think Shador Sanders is a top 5 pick in the NFL. He'll probably get picked in top 5, but Colorado hasn't been anything special. So I don't think like Shador Sanders is like that good, but why not? Why not? Like, I could see Jerry Jones being like, former Cowboy, and you can have your son here, and you could probably move Dak for something fairly lucrative.
And I look at it that players would want to play for Deion. And I'm starting to get on this bandwagon that like coaches that are loved by a team, the team wants to play better. And you're seeing that in Washington, and you're seeing that in Detroit.
Now, okay, so let's hypothetically this takes place. Where does Dak end up?
Ooh, that's a good one. Where does Dak end up?
I have a team.
You could say Indianapolis.
I don't think it's Indy. That's not my pick. You know who I think?
Who?
The Jets.
Oh, God.
Aaron Rodgers will be out the door. They'll have the money. Why not insert Dak? And then the Cowboys could move Dak and that contract, go get Dion and his son, and whatever compensation it takes to get Dak. I mean, maybe the Cowboys even say, we'll give you our third pick, you give us your second, or some sort of pick swap.
A pick swap and take some money on Dak's deal.
Yeah.
You could do that too, but it didn't seem like a bad scenario because Colorado's playing a lot better this season. They're 8-2 right now, and I know they don't play great teams, but Sanders isn't playing bad either as a quarterback, and his dad always coaching him, bringing him along. I think it could work.
I absolutely think it could work. I don't think that's a bad take at all. Yeah, I say why not? Dallas is such a mess. Why not?
All right, good. At least that wasn't. I was thinking about it. I was like, I gotta ask these guys, see what they think, because that was. I wasn't even thinking that, and now I'm like, because I know he listed teams that he wanted to be drafted by, his son to be drafted. Atlanta was one of them. Dallas was one of them. San Francisco was one of them. Guys that already had established quarterbacks.
Yeah. I like that take. I like moving on from Dak. I like bringing in Shedeur Sanders with his dad as the coach. And then you also give Shedeur Sanders, you give him CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks. That's a soft landing.
A soft landing, and then draft a running back.
Yeah, they definitely need a running back as well. But running backs are a dime a dozen. You could draft someone in the second round easy.
Oh, easily.
I have one other question for you before we go into our quarterbacks, and then we start talking about Celtics. What's wrong with Tyreek Hill?
I don't know. I was thinking about that the other day because I have him in that league or joined with you guys with your buddy.
Yeah,
and he has done nothing for me since Tua got hurt, and even when Tua's been back.
He's got 37 receptions this year for 462 yards.
He's not Tyreek Hill this year.
No, there's definitely something wrong. I don't know if he doesn't care this year or what. Like what? I mean, he does lead the team in targets, but there's something like wrong there. I don't know if he wants out of Miami or what, but 2 touchdowns and 37 receptions for 462 yards. Those are not Tyreek Hill numbers.
Oh, not even close. Last year he was pushing almost 2,000 yards till he got hurt.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I kind of really have in the NFL. I mean, we can touch on a number of things. One thing I will say is how much did we shit on the Mike Williams trade? And then he goes out and catches a game-winning touchdown. Holy, I was watching that too. I went to the gym after work. So I'm on the treadmill, and believe it or not, I'm on the treadmill. I don't know who's watching this is like, this fat shit is on a treadmill. Yeah, I am. So relax, people. But I can't just drink beer all the time and stay mildly out of shape. I do have to work out a little. But in any event, I'm watching that Rainbow by Russell Wilson, and it lands in none other than Mike Williams' hands. And I'm like, man, what an asshole I am.
I thought I was an asshole too. And then he comes out and goes, I've never ran that route before, ever. Not in practice. We never practiced it. I ran the route for the first time that game.
I'm actually convinced that Mike Williams has never run a route as a wide receiver a day in his life. It was his first one ever. So, all right, let's go to our top 10 quarterbacks this season. This season alone, take their whole careers out of it. Everybody who's watching this, one season. Who's number 10 for you?
Baker Mayfield.
Okay, Baker Mayfield. I got Brock Purdy.
Okay.
Number 9.
Jalen Hurts.
Oh, I have Pat Mahomes.
Okay. I had to factor in the win total for Patty, unfortunately.
I factored in the wins, but it's not Pat Mahomes like numbers.
Oh, no. You're not far off. I have Pat Mahomes at 8.
I have CJ Stroud at 8.
See, I didn't even put him on my list right now because how bad he's been playing.
I have him at 8. Who do we got? Who do you got at 8?
I got Pat Mahomes at 8.
7.
7 is Brock Purdy.
Okay, I got Kirk Cousins.
All right, at 6, I had Kyler Murray.
That's a good one. I had Jaden Daniels.
Okay, I had James Daniels at 5.
I have Sam Darnold at 5.
Okay, and I know I shit on him earlier, even though they won. I put Jared Goff at 4 because I think they need him still in the playoffs.
All right, so these are our top 4. These are the final 4. My number 4, Jared Goff.
Okay, you matched me. Now
Right, number 3.
I'm getting a little thing, but I'm going Joe Burrow at 3.
Not bad. At number 3, I have Joe Burrow.
Okay. Now
Number 2.
1 and 2, and now I'm going off a lot of different things right here. Going Lamar Jackson.
So at number 2, I have your number 1. I have Josh Allen.
Okay. And then you got Lamar at 1?
I have Lamar at 1. I think Lamar, 24 touchdowns to 2 picks, 2,600 yards. They're 7-3. And to add on the rushing yards on top of it, I think he is the best quarterback in the league this year.
No, so that was where I was coming. I put Josh Allen there because we talked about it earlier. He carries that team. If they don't have Josh Allen, they ain't winning games.
So, I mean, we essentially have the same top 4, just 1 and 2 mixed up. We had a lot of different quarterbacks. Like I didn't have Kyler Murray on my list. I didn't have Jalen Hurts on my list. I'm not a Jalen Hurts fan. I don't think he's good, honestly.
So I'm not a fan of Jalen Hurts. I just still think that the Eagles need him as a quarterback. I mean, who else do they have?
They won a Super Bowl with Big Dick Nick. I mean,
the Kyler Murray one was a big one for me, though, because coming off an injury last year, he played some games, came in with a rookie guy, he has Connor. He showed me a lot this year as a quarterback.
So where'd you have Jalen Hurts?
I had him at 9.
All right, so you have Jalen Hurts at 9. If you had Trevor Lawrence in Philadelphia, do you think Philly's better, worse, or the same?
I don't know. I'm not a fan of Trevor Lawrence right now.
I'm not either. I'm just trying to bend your mind a little bit here with how I just think Jalen Hurts is not good. I don't think he's that good. I think that offense is built. Like, I think Sirianni's a bad coach too. I think that offense between Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, AJ Brown, like Cooper DeJean, by the way, has been fantastic this year while we're talking Eagles. But like, put Kyler Murray in Philly. Do you think they're better, worse, or the same?
Better.
Geno Smith.
Worse.
Brock Purdy.
Better.
Pat Mahomes.
Oh, better.
CJ Stroud.
I didn't have my list, but I'm gonna say same or better because of the second year slump.
How about this, Joe Flacco?
Worse.
Oh, all right. Well, then I mean, I'm just trying to put somebody crazy who you think. Jalen Hurts to me, I think is a plug and play. I think there's a number of quarterbacks you could throw on that team and be like, all right, they're the same or better. I don't think like if you put Jalen Hurts in Jacksonville, I think Jacksonville's worse than they are with Trevor Lawrence, and I'm not a Trevor Lawrence fan.
No, I don't disagree with you. I just they've been together. I just think that he needs to. I mean, his stats really aren't awful.
All right, now let me ask you this: he wasn't on either of our lists. A healthy Tua.
Oh, better. Healthy Tua,
better. So I just that's what I mean by plug and play. I think there's a number of guys like. How about this, Drake May?
21 years old, but you're giving him all those weapons, but you see weapons and Sirianni plays a factor in that too. So I don't know if they're better.
I mean, I don't either. Obviously, I'm just spitballing here, but
Herbert would be better.
There you go, Herbert. Herbert's a guy who didn't make either of our lists. You put Herbert in Philly, like, but Drake May. Look what Drake May's doing this with Ramondre Stevenson, Jalen Polk, like all these guys. Imagine if you just dropped him in Philly and said, "Guess what? At 21, you get to start in Philly." I think Drake May's better than Jalen Hurts in Philly. Like, and I don't know that. That's just an opinion, but
yeah.
I think that team is so stacked around Jalen Hurts that it essentially got Jalen Hurts paid.
Oh, no, that's true. Their team is stacked. Their defense, offense, that team is, again, a Madden team.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it, I guess, for our NFL portion. Let's do a little bit of Celtics before we wrap this show up, because they are playing tonight. You got a score update for us?
I do. 63-60 Celtics.
All right. Well, that's a good start. So they were 2-1 since our last podcast. And what's their strongest stretch, right? They have an overtime win to beat Brooklyn. The Milwaukee game, if Milwaukee doesn't go ice cold in that second half, the Celtics might have lost that game as well. And then the loss to Atlanta really stung for me. No Trae Young, and you lose 117 to 116. They're up 11 at the half. They fall apart in the third, towards the end of the third. The Hawks, you just kind of felt the shift. They gave up 19 offensive rebounds. Do you worry at all about the Celtics?
I'm not worried, but Tatum's shooting the last 3 games has been off. He's scored a bunch of points in 2 of those games, and Brown scored 37 last night. So I think having Jaylen Brown coming back is a big help. I do believe that we need Kristaps Porzingis back, and I believe that. That's just my opinion. I think adding him to that team just makes that team that much better, because I don't see a legitimate big man on the team, and Horford still is an older player that can't play the whole game.
Yeah. Well, until Steve joins us, I believe he wants you to call him Christmas Porzingis.
That's right.
Until Steve's back to tell us he doesn't want to, he will otherwise be known Christmas Porzingis. And I agree with you. I think I was thinking about it today, and I was going to overreaction mode. And I'm like, maybe they should trade for a big man, because you're giving up 19 offensive rebounds. That's really bad. And then you think like, all right, well, you get Porzingis back. Well, Porzingis is a big 7-footer who's had issues. We've seen guys like the Yao Mings of the world who have feet issues and they can't play full seasons. Would they be smart to go out and get a big man, or do you think they're okay and maybe that's the panic button a little too much?
I think it's a little bit of a panic button at 9-3.
Okay.
If you're talking about a month from now and we lose 6 more games, 7 more games, then definitely trading for a big man is going to help us in the long run.
Okay.
I mean, you only need Porzingis because of injury history and all that. Technically, the dude's only going to play a half a season.
Yeah.
Which is better for him, because you don't worry. I mean, you're still going to worry about coming off the injury, coming off everything. But at a half a season, I could see him making that whole half season in playoffs. But overreaction for trading right now, yeah. Further down the line, by Christmas, if we lose 7 more games by Christmas, you need to look at trading for somebody.
Did you see Drew Holiday, by the way? He was on a podcast, and they said at practice they have a game that they play at practice called Stop Peyton Pritchett.
No, I didn't hear that.
So there's a game, I guess the Celtics play at practice called Stop Peyton Pritchett. And basically Peyton Pritchett runs around and someone is tasked with guarding him, and you have to stop him from getting open and shooting. And they say he's one of the harder people to guard because he's such a good, quick shot, and he finds open spaces. And that's a game that they play. And it's showing, I would say, in the season. The guy is an integral part of that offense.
I called him for 6th man of the year, buddy, and I'm sticking to it to the end of the season.
Yeah, and I don't think you're wrong. I mean, he's got the 3rd highest 3-point percentage on the team. He's got 41%, and he shoots 9 a game. So I mean, that's pretty decent. Like Horford's got a better 3-point percentage. Horford shoots 4.5 a game and hits 2. Pritchard shoots 9 and he makes 3.8 a game, roughly 4 a game.
Yeah, I think he's averaging almost 17 points a game too.
Yeah, it's just under 16, 15-2, 15-8, something like that.
So it changed a little bit from when last time I saw it. But the kid can ball. And I think there was games that he played in summer leagues and stuff like that where you see him drop like 82 or something like that. The kid can play.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I mean, like I said, I'm overreacting just a bit, kind of on purpose, just to gauge where you're at. But there's just Horford's not going to be able to give you the meaningful minutes. Him and Porzingis might need to split a little something, but I do think that trade deadline time that it might behoove them to go get somebody else. You know,
and you're right on that. You're right. I'm not saying. I'm just not trying to jump into it too early.
Yeah, For sure, for sure. So they're playing the Nets tonight, obviously. Last night didn't go our way, the play-in tournament. Do you care about the play-in tournament at all?
Not at all.
No, neither do I. And it doesn't, like, it would almost appear that they don't either, right?
Yeah, I guarantee you they don't fucking care about it. Who wants to have a midseason play-in tournament championship? Like the Lakers? I mean, seriously.
All they're going to win.
It's all the
And as good as Anthony Davis has been, right, he's not going to be healthy all season. There's no way.
No, I don't see it happening all season long. I really don't. I mean, that Celtics at half. Jaylen Brown got 19 points right now.
Oh, wow. I mean, that's just impressive.
I'm just saying.
How about Cleveland? How do you feel about Cleveland?
It's scary to see how good they are. Yeah, and they're not winning games by big margins. They're really not. They're just winning games that they think that that matter to them. You know what I mean? And they're proving a point. But they're probably the only team that in right now, if we're going off right now, they're the only team that's gonna in the East that's gonna compete with the Celtics.
I agree. They are down right now to Philly. They're losing in the third quarter.
Thank God, finally.
Rooting for the loss.
I am rooting for a loss because I didn't think Cleveland could win 12 games in a row. Never mind if they won a 13th. Like that's very impressive. It really is. And you were saying it. The team is pretty deep. They are.
Well, they have that good big three with Garland, Mitchell, and Mobley. And then I like Jared Allen. I think Jared Allen's a good big man. He was good in Brooklyn. And I think they kind of like tossed him away like when they were deciding to do their rebuild or their big three with Kyrie and Durant. And Karis LeVert. Karis LeVert was good in Brooklyn too, and they kind of threw him away. He went to Indy for a little bit, and now he's I think they're a pretty decent team. So I think do I think in a 7-game series they're better than Boston? No, not really. Even starting off as hot as they are, but I do think they're good.
And you also got to think about too. You're still waiting for Christmas to come back, so
yeah.
That plays a big factor going into playoffs with Cleveland. You're adding another guy that can shoot, rebound, play defense. It just adds that extra element. So am I scared of him in a 7-game series? Not right now, no.
No, I actually don't think there's many teams that can compete with the Celtics in a 7-game series. I mean, last season, I think we saw every series they had, they kind of dominated. And I think when it comes to playoff basketball, now that you've won a title too, I don't think the same pressure falls on the Celtics shoulders that did before they won a title. So this is now a seasoned team.
No, I agree.
Do you have anything else on the Celtics before we kind of wrap the show up?
No, I guess I'm on the Bruins though.
4 out of their last 6.
4 out of the last 6. They're still 8-7, but opponents are outscoring us 3-2 right now. Does paying Swayman look bad right now, or is it the head coach?
Right now, yes, but at the same time, like that game they lost against Ottawa against Linus Ullmark, believe it or not, they didn't get a shot off in the third period. So you can't. I mean, you can blame Swayman for giving up the goals, but if you're not shooting the puck on net for an entire period, you're putting your goalie at a pretty big disadvantage.
No, agree. That's why I was asking, do you think it's the coach?
Yeah, and the problem is now you've won 4 out of your last 6, so you've probably just bought him some time to not get fired.
Yeah, that's the other big problem.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially what it is. They're 5 points out of first place in the Atlantic, so if they keep winning, it just keeps buying Jim Montgomery that much more time. I mean, but would I rather have them win and have Montgomery? This is the same coach who they scored the most points ever in a regular season. So it's like I don't know. I can't pinpoint the problem because they went out and they got players. They got Lindholm. They got some big defenders. They paid the goalie that everyone wanted them to pay. You have to put shots on net. That's what this game is all about. And if you put 0 shots in a period, you're not going to win games.
True.
So, I mean, I don't know what the fix is right now, but I do know part of it is shooting the puck.
Shooting the puck's a big one. They got to do something. I needed to bring it up because I see 8 and 7, and I see 3.18 goals in the game on us, and we're only getting 2. I didn't know if it was the coach or if it's the goalie or if it's the players. So I just wanted to pick your brain on it real quick.
No, I definitely think there's something to be said for. I mean, Swayman's got to be. I think he's saving 89%. That's his save percentage right now, which is good for. If I go down, let me go down the list here. Is good for a 35th in the NHL. So obviously you have to be better. The real kick in the seat. Where's Linus Ullmark? 24 at 90%. So I mean, that sucks when you traded away a guy and he's playing better than your goalie. But yeah, you still have to get the puck on the net, and they're not doing that good enough.
Okay, no, I agree.
So I don't really have much more on the Bruins. But do you have anything else on them you want to talk about?
No, I'm all good with the Bruins, buddy.
All right, well, that's probably going to do it for us here tonight on the Boston Boys Sports Podcast. Of course, we are partnered with Jones and for Sports. We make sports better. Check them out on X. Check them out on Instagram. Check them out on YouTube. They're putting out great quality content every single day. Also follow us on X and on YouTube at Hub Boys Sports. Give us a like, give us a follow. Tell us what you think in the comments, and whatever we see, we will address. Especially when you talk about our studs and duds. Kiefer, final word for tonight.
Stevie Stats. I need you back in my life, buddy. We need those crazy stats to come in.
Absolutely. We're hoping for this weekend or next week to get Stevie back. And we've been saying that for a while because we can't wait for it to happen. But Stevie, I'm also with Kiefer on this one. Come on back. We need you. We need somebody to talk a little Drake May with us and take us off cloud 9, I guess, right?
Oh yeah. That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Well, that's going to do it for us at the Boston Boys Sports Podcast. Join us again next week. We will be putting out another one. Guys, have a good night. Kiefer, Beard, take it easy.